Resendez, Hornaday, Sprague. In 1996, 3 races, 3 different winners thus far in the exciting NASCAR Craftsman Truck Racing Series. And the finishes, tremendous. In 16 of the 23 races, the winners have won by less than a second. Who will win today in the Monroe, Washington 1996 event? Some new faces are looking for victory lane. Stay tuned. Hello, everybody. Ken Squire. Welcome here to the Evergreen Fairgrounds in Monroe, Washington, and we've got a great one for you today. The NASCAR Craftsman Trucks are here, and the story of qualifying has added 2 other names that could be really significant if the weather cooperates. All across America, this is a rainy day, no exception out here. But 2 Northwestern drivers in qualifying last night put it on the field. Mike Bliss and Toby Butler to start up in front. Now, the weather is a big issue, and we've got a weather expert with us, also the editor of Stock Car Magazine. As you know, he's from up around Marblehead, Massachusetts, those fishing fleets, and come all the way out here to watch these fellas pry the pistons right out of them. What about it? We get ready to go on this one, Doctor, if the weather stays with us. Kind of a race.
Hey, and I think we're going to have a great race today, too, if the weather holds off. We did have a gully washer this morning for sure. Interesting story up front. Toby Butler on the pole didn't even have a ride this year until Thursday night. He got on the airplane. He was supposed to be a crew member on one of Ken Schrader's trucks here this weekend. They said, hey, Kenny can't make it. Will you drive the truck? He said, okay, fine. He not only got the ride, he's put the truck on the pole. Outside him, Mike Bliss has run here a whole lot. He's won here in midgets, never won here in a truck, but today could be the day.
Well, he might not be a fisherman, but he's one of the all-time best at seeing how to put these rigs together and make them fly. We're really honored to have Larry McReynolds all the way over from Charlotte, North Carolina, where he's testing for the 600. Okay, what have you got to do to beat these 2 kids to the Northwest up here today, Larry?
Well, I talked to a lot of the drivers in the garage area this morning, Ken, and the big word was patience. You've got to show patience with this racetrack and the tire that Goodyear has brought here. You may see some drivers run out there and lead a bunch of laps, but the driver that takes care of his tires, never abuses his truck, he's probably going to be there at the end of both 100-lap segments.
Let's meet some of those guys up in front today for this 200-lapper.
Well, I'm Randy Pemberton, and I'm at the head of the field with the AC Delco Chevy truck that's on the pole. Toby Butler aboard. And Toby, you're on the pole with a new track record of 98.886. How excited are you to leave this great field off today, and can you win here?
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, Kenny Schrader put together an excellent team here led by Timmy Cahuth, and they gave me a good truck. I just hope we can stay there. I want to start off by saying Happy Mom's Day to my mom and wife and Sherry back home, and mother-in-law and all the other moms out there. It's their day tomorrow, and but Kenny and Ann Schrader gave me a great opportunity here, and I just hope we can fly the AC Delco colors proud today.
Okay, congratulations on your pole, and he's going to try and win this race today. He's only led 1 NASCAR Craftsman Truck race ever, and that was back in June of 1995. On the outside of row 1 is Mike Bliss. Just missed the pole. He also has only led 1 race ever back in September of 1995. He came up just short last week, winning in Portland, and the guy that nipped him is back there starting in the 11th spot, and he's standing by with my colleague on pit road today, Steve Burns. Steve.
Folks, this ad in USA Today pretty much sums up Ron Hornaday's strategy. Put it to the floor and turn left. Now, Ron, the question is, if you started 11th last week, you made quick order of the field, you start 11th today, strategy pretty much the same, I would imagine.
It sure is. Doug Richards and the guys put this Napa brake part Chevrolet same way, left the same shock, same springs, everything underneath it. So tires is the key thing today, so we're just going to keep this thing straight off the corner and see what we can do for Chevrolet.
All right, best of luck. And folks, by the way, Ron Hornaday won this race last year. Let's go back topside to Ken Squire.
They pretty much wrung all the water out of this 0.6 of a mile track. They've been drying for the last 2 or 3 hours, and we're getting ready to go racing here at the Evergreen Speedway in Monroe, Washington. 3 preliminary laps before they turn them loose today here at Monroe, Washington, the grand track in the Northwest. And let's take a look at the starting grid for today's event. Row number 1, Toby Butler's Chevrolet is there, and right alongside comes Mike Bliss. First time he has started on the front row. Now you've got a Dodge back there on the inside of row 2. Rich Bickle there, the pole sitter last week, and Jack Sprague, winner at Phoenix last month. In row 3 this afternoon, Joe Ruttman, number 2 in points a year ago, and the sensational Brian Refner. In row 4, it's Mike Skinner, won 8 races last year en route to the championship, and Butch Miller, the 3-time ASA champion. For row 5 today, Billy Sedgwick there, twice a champion, the Winston West Series, and Dan Press, he is qualified in 10th. Going 11th today, Ron Hornaday, winner last week at Portland, winner here a year ago, and Jimmy Hensley. In row 7 is John Nemechek in the 13th position, and those 13 all broke the old track record. Ron Barfield for Bill Elliott starts alongside. Going to row 8, there you have Kevin Kid Harvick, 20-year-old youngster out of Bakersfield, and the High Plains drifter Rick Corelli. Row 9 is Bob Keselowski, the 89 ARCA champion, and Ernie Cope. For row 10 today, Bobby Gill is there, and the winner of the season opener at Homestead, Dave Resendez from Massachusetts. Row 11, Rick Johnson, the 2-time world motocross champion, and he has Butch Gillian alongside. Row 12 is Lance Norrick out of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and Kenny Allen. Row 13 is Michael Dokken from down in Florida, and Doug George. Row 14, Lonnie Cox, a freshman from Colorado, and the great Walker Evans. Row 15, Bobby Brevac, the 1990 ARCA champion, and Mike Hurlbut. And finally, beside Iron Mike there, we can go back to some more provisionals. Mike Chase, the 1994 Winston West champion, and Joe Midori out of Oklahoma City rounds out the field. Let's take a look at our in-trucks for today's event. Here's Mike Bliss up on the outside of row number 1. So smooth, so strong. Here's his roof camera. Go down that back straightaway. About 120 miles an hour today, they expect to hit that 3rd turn. Now you're seeing Refner's camera. The guy from Wisconsin Rapids starting 6. And go to his roof camera and give you this look. Sedgwick right in front of him. That's how it looks off the back of his truck. And Ron Hornaday a little further back in the field, getting ready to do some work. Ron Hornaday starting 11th, and here's how it looks from on top of his machine. Jimmy Hensley's Chrysler getting ready for a go here. Up on top of that Mopar product. And you're looking off the back of Jimmy Hensley. Jimmy's been sick all week. Feeling a little better today, but he's been really under the weather.
Well, all the Dodge guys are feeling good about this race, however, Ken. They're really looking forward to running on this particular racetrack. It seems to be especially well suited for the Dodge. Been a long time since Dodge has been in victory lane in NASCAR. They're playing catch up, doing a great job.
32 cars at the ready. Barry Dotson down in the pits. Talked to him a few times during this event today. Of course, his Ultra Wheels car with Mike Bliss up there on the outside. Whole story today is going to be tires, Larry.
It really is. You know, the guy said the whole secret is get the truck soft, get the air pressure down as low, try to make the truck bite into the racetrack, and be patient. If you ever abuse these tires, they will not come back to you.
Got a mic on Barry Dotson today to give us a chance to communicate with him as we get ready for a go in this truck event this afternoon. 200 laps, be a new record. Remember last year, this was the race where they only had 4 cautions, 14 laps. Other than that, it was all green. It was all Hornaday except for 7 laps led by Joe Ruttman. 15 Chevrolets, 12 Fords, 5 Dodges. Come down to the line and on the brakes, squeezing out in front. Mike Bliss in number 2, and right back on the inside comes Butler. What a beautiful racetrack. Asphalt's a little old, worn. You really have to be careful out here. Throttle control will be the key on these hard tires that they run at where? North Wilkesboro? Where else they run these
Same tire that the Winston Cup cars won at North Wilkesboro, Richmond, and the same tire that actually the Busch cars are going to run in Loudon, New Hampshire.
Loudon race rained out today. They're going to run up in New Hampshire Grand National tomorrow. We understand. Back straightaway. Into 3. Butler is out in front, and the Northwestern drivers are leading the parade here this afternoon. at the Evergreen Fairgrounds in Monroe, Washington.
Kenny Schrader was originally going to drive that truck, but couldn't make it. Last-minute thing. He had to turn it around. He faxed his letter of withdrawal to the racetrack, and in it he said, "I hate to miss any race, especially a truck race." And at the bottom he added a little PS and said, "I had really hoped to find the other half of my thumb on my return trip." This is the racetrack where Kenny Schrader last year trapped his thumb between a fan belt and the pulley and lost the tip of it.
Had to put Ron Esau in the car a year ago. Here's Jimmy Hensley's in car. As you look down through the field, trying to keep you abreast of where all of your favorites are out here in this Craftsman Truck Race Series by NASCAR. We watch as Toby Butler screams down the main straightaway in the lead. Mike was after him, and they picked up about a 10-car length advantage in the early going.
Barfield there picking up a spot of the number 94 truck. This may well be one of Barfield's last truck races. Bill Elliott, his truck owner, has called him home. He's going to put Barfield on the big tracks. This week he tests Rockingham, and just a couple of weeks from now he's going to be running Busch Grand National at Charlotte. You'll see that race right here on TBS.
Went for 13th and just took it away from Miller.
Notice right there, Ken, unlike most short tracks, the groove here is about 2 or 3 grooves up from the bottom. I talked to some of the drivers, said, why don't you run around the bottom here? One of the reasons was it helps them save the tires. The other reason, it helps them get a better bite off the corner by not squaring the corner off and getting a good run up off the corner.
Mike Bliss closes in on Toby Butler. Great day for the Northwest. The fans have really turned out. They've seen these guys win on this racetrack, and to have them up in front is a very proud moment for NASCAR racing in this part of the country.
These two drivers have opened up a good bit of distance between themselves and the rest of the trucks. These two guys perhaps have more laps out here than the rest, and it's paying off right now.
Jack Sprague is back in 4th. Rutland is in 5th. Rettner is in 6th. Skinner is in 7th. 16, and you look at that battle back a little further for 8th spot. Look at Hornaday on the inside. He's got Sedgwick pinned on the outside, and coming with him is Dan Press in that black number 53. That number 53 Chevy.
Riding with Hornaday, they have not been happy with their truck here. They haven't been able to get it as good as they had it last year. This is not the same truck they had last year, and he said the setup for last year just doesn't work this year. Reason, the tire situation. These are different tires.
Can't overstate this tire thing today, Larry. You've got to have such great throttle control, because you come up off those corners and you start to slide, you'll heat them up and you wear them out. And you've got to wear these tires for 100 laps until halftime. Take a 5-lap penalty if you have to come in unless you got a real flat. So you got to be so careful, and if you spin these tires at all, you're cruising for a bruising.
Well, that's the thing, you know, it's I talked to Barry and Will Lynn and some of those guys, Doug Richard, that has been involved in the Winston Cup circuit before, and they said, Larry, it's just like North Wilkesboro. You got to stay on your driver. You got to tell them to take care of the tires. And unlike Winston Cup, we get a caution flag, we come in there and we get us 4 new stickers. These guys can't. They cannot do it until halftime without that penalty.
And as you watch here, Toby Butler, great stock car driver, but the reason I like Bliss is he really knows about tire economy. Ex-midget driver, he won in the midgets out here. Won a couple of times, right, Dick?
Twice, yep, he sure did.
And you gotta know, and of course you saw him in that Silver Crown race at Richmond, Virginia, I'm sure last year. One of the best races the Silver Crown USAC cars put on. Talk about tire, and there's Bliss, down to the inside, charging hard, trying for that spot. He's got it down the main straightaway.
Although Bliss qualified on the outside pole for this event, he did not have a perfect qualifying run by any stretch of the imagination. For whatever reason, he backed out of the throttle just before the start-finish line, and that cost him just a little bit of a ticket. Look at him. He has taken off now that he has the lead.
3-car lengths. He pulls away. For more on the story, let's go to Randy Pemberton.
Well, Mike Bliss was showing a lot of patience in the early going. He was absolutely eating Toby Butler up through the middle of the corner, but because of this groove, you really got to get all the way up to the driver's door in order to make a run off of the corner. But Bliss was right there lap after lap. He finally got a shot at him going into turn 3, and he made the move. But Bliss looks like he is ready to check out. That car is rolling through the middle.
Number 43, Bickle 0.4 of a second back. And that truck holding third, Jack Sprague right there with him in fourth. Sprague looking to the inside, not being able to make the spot. We've got a dandy here today. Stay with us as the NASCAR Craftsman trucks are rolling. Here at the Evergreen Fairgrounds, Mike Bliss is in front. Toby Butler is in second. And right now, Mike Skinner has just moved around Refner. Now, you see Dan Press in the 53 move around Skinner as that struggle continues. Back in 6th position. Give it to Dan Press, who started in 10th place. There's Refner still in a roll. Hornaday moving into the picture here as well. Looking back from Refner. Riding with Refner in 8th position. Down to the inside. Sprague. Brother Hornaday. Into 16, trying to make his move on the inside. Hornaday, winner last week, gets a hole on the inside, tries to drive it up through. Out of 2 and down the back straightaway. Ron Hornaday with the advantage into 3. Refner pinned on the outside. Oh, he got turn 2. Got one spinning in the second turn. Looks like, is that number 11? No, that's Lonnie Cox, the youngster from Colorado.
Yeah, they've had trouble with that truck this weekend, Ken. He broke a transmission in that truck. They had to go to a backup transmission and had a different high gear ratio, and they've been searching for the correct gear all weekend long. And having the correct gear is very important because that helps you get out of the turns without spinning.
Lonnie Cox in a truck that he has built himself, coming out here and spinning as he goes into turn number 1. So we've got 24 of 200 laps complete here this afternoon. That gives us 176. First caution of the day. Half a lap under green as they pick it back up after 3 laps of caution here in this truck event. The NASCAR Craftsman Series at the present time has Mike Bliss just steaming out in front. Butler is after him, and the Chrysler stays in 3rd. So as you got them lined up at the present time, it's a Chevy in front, a Ford in 2nd, and that Dodge in 3rd, followed by Jack Sprague's number 24 back in 4th. And comes Rutland. Here's Hornaday working to the inside on Skinner. They come up on that lap truck of Cox, and it's a little wild out there as they come back down the main straightaway. When they come off turn 4 on this track, this is right where the center of one of those last earthquakes happened, and that turn 4 has changed, they say, pretty dramatically from a year ago.
Yeah, there's a big bump in that thing, Ken, and if a guy hits it just right, Bill Sedgwick says a guy could just hit nothing and simply go, wow, and just turn it right around. You might even feel it a little bit as you come off riding in some of these in-truck cameras.
You're riding with Ron Hornaday in 8th, just in front of him. The number 3 of Skinner in 7th. Let's go to Steve Burns.
Ken, Dick Berggren mentioned a few moments ago that this is a different truck that Hornaday won in here last year. However, it is the same truck he won with last week. Now, these teams have worked hard to change shocks and springs, and Doug Richard, in fact, says that Ron has developed a push. Now, all the truck teams are having trouble getting forward bite, and I think Larry McReynolds can elaborate on that.
That was one of the complaints that a lot of the crew chiefs had this morning. And what forward bite is when the driver goes back to the throttle to come up off the corner, the rear wheels of the truck just won't hook up. And they have been trying a lot of things. They've been trying to put higher gears in. The thing that can help this is putting softer rear springs, make the rear of the truck squat down and get a good bite, or less compression in the shocks. Now, Hornaday, I'm surprised this truck's pushing, because Doug Richards said that even though they won the race a year ago, that's all that truck did was push the entire event. I don't think they had planned on that. They was making adjustments for the forward bite. But Ron Hornaday, he makes adjustments. If you'll notice there, in the center of the corner and on off the corner, what he'll do is let the truck drift down and actually catch the infield, and that actually make the truck go ahead and turn. So he's adapted to a situation that's not perfect right now.
Just in front of that Hornaday story, here comes Dan Press, and he is flying. You see Jack Sprague back there, Barfield in the 94.
These guys are all over each other, and you got to wonder about how they're doing in terms of tires, Ken.
Using up some tires there for sure. Here's Barfield working on Sprague. 8th place at stake.
And look at Press toward the front. I mean, that's an unsponsored truck, a local team. And look at this. They're going right by Joe Ruttman on the bottom. Great job by Dan Press, followed by Skinner.
Advantage Computer folks with that number 53. They've got to be thrilled with this one. Here is Dan Press moving up another slot. Qualified in 10th. Skinner coming with him. They've got Ruttman off the line. They got him to the outside in that Jack Roush machine. JR's garage just in front, holds on again.
You know, Ken, I talked to Joe Ruttman this morning. He qualified 5th, but he said it was the scariest qualifying run he has ever made. He said the truck was all over the racetrack. They come in here this morning. They did it with anticipating a 30-minute practice to kind of find out where they was. They changed 4 springs, 4 shocks, front sway bar. He said we changed everything but the roof number. They did get to practice it, but I think they still went on and they're trying to race with it.
Big surprise out of Dan Press as he continues. I suppose you journalist guys would say he's being very impressive. Saw that in your magazine.
Yeah, we might print that.
Although at the moment, bigger stories being told by Barfield. He's around Jack Sprague. Barfield continuing to roll through in the Bill Elliott machine. Gets himself 8th. Sprague has dropped to 9th. Miller is back in 10th.
24, Jack Sprague has returned to Chucky. That's the car he won with at Phoenix. It's the car he ran, truck he ran so well with at Homestead as well, and he has returned to it after trying a different truck last week and not liking it as well as Chucky, which is named after his daughter.
Joe Ruttman closing back in on Skinner. Ruttman lost a spot or two to it when he and Press came flying up through. Here's Hornaday at work. Remember, look at Sedgwick here. And he is up on the outside, and down to the inside goes Jimmy Hensley.
And Corelli in the 6th. He was 6th last week, started 6th the week before, started 6th, finished 6th, did that once last year. He said, I don't care where I finish. I don't want to finish 6th. That's the number 6 truck.
Up to 12th.
That's probably better.
Jimmy Hensley. These are the same tires, as Larry McReynolds mentioned, that were used at North Wilkesboro. But you can change those pretty regularly. You got to go 100 laps on these. No camber in these trucks. I mean, this is a different deal.
You know, that's a good point, Ken. You know, and I was talking to Barry Dobson, you know, and we was talking about the setups here, and him and I was actually kind of comparing the setup they're using here with what we just run at North Wilkesboro. And he says, Larry, remember, one of the big things is we can't have rear camber, which is the amount of that the rear tire leans in. And that will really help a truck or any type of racing vehicle get a lot of bite off the corner so they don't have the camber to work with.
Nor offset. There's no offset on these trucks as compared to your Winston Cup, Jared, and Urban machines.
Exactly. We're allowed 1 inch of offset. That means the body can be offset of the chassis 1 inch, and on the trucks they can't none at all.
The man to watch right moment is this man, Mike Bliss, continuing to fly. The Milwaukee, Oregon campaigner has this crowd standing and cheering as the Northwest is looking good. After 46 of the 200 laps have been completed, 154 remaining. The former Silver Crown champion, open-wheel driver, who has moved into this NASCAR Craftsman Series, Mike Bliss is in front. Toby Butler is right there knocking on the door in second. And Bliss is now blistering this track as he laps automobiles. Here he is moving in, putting a lap on number 78, Mike Chase. Up to the outside, down the back straightaway. Riding with him up toward 125 miles per hour, they say, and then eases it down into that corner. Is he using up that rubber? To wait and see. Can't change until the halfway mark.
You know, Ken, this is when the tires in the truck will get the most test, is in this lap traffic. You know, he's out there leading. He can kind of run his own groove. Now he catches these lap trucks. That's when he really has to abuse the tires. I'm going to tell you, I've been watching some of these trucks go through the corner, and it looks looks to me, contrary to what everybody was saying this morning, I think most of these trucks are fighting a push condition. The front end's just not biting. And you know what they might have fell victim to, and I've been a part of this also? It's a lot cloudier and cooler today than it was yesterday, and they may be compensated too much for the forward bite. Now they've got the front end where it's not sticking.
Toby Butler sticking pretty well in second place as he puts a lap on Butch Gilligan's Ford. There's the 43 of Rich Bickle, and that Chrysler stays right there. Here comes Dan Press, and he's up there with Hornaday. They're fighting down the main chute on lap 50. Correction 51.
Hornaday really put his truck down low. You saw him bump. He actually went through the infield with a couple of the wheels of that truck, but he managed to get by Bliss in the process. Skinner just hanging back there. Skinner's strategy this week is the same as last week. He said, we are not the fastest truck. We just want to hang in there and get a top 5.
The truck number 16, Hornaday, in 4th place. Dan Press up from 10th into 5th and challenging once again.
Hornaday's truck looked like it's starting to handle a little bit better than it did in the early part of the race, and that may have been what happened. You know, it was just too tight or pushing at the beginning of the race, and now that we've got 50-something laps on the board, it's starting to come in a little bit.
Dan Press last week came from 23rd up to 10th in the alternator, killed his day. Made him an also-ran, but boy, he is flying right now in this number 53. Dan Press, another one of these Northwest champions, looking tremendous right now.
From Bader, Washington, about 150 miles away from here. Amazingly, this is only the 5th time Dan Press has ever run here. He used to be a Southern California driver, has a lot more experience on the California tracks than here. We are almost in Canada. This racetrack is so far north.
About 140 miles up to the frontier. Look at Skinner in the number 3. After that crash at Homestead, start of the year, things just have not come together for that Richard Childress truck. Make it work right now. Mike Skinner in that Chevy that won 8 events and winning the championship a year back. And again, this battle you're watching is for 5th place. The 2 black vehicles, 53 and 3, fighting for 5th. Dan Press out of the Northwest, and Mike Skinner, as good as there is in this division. And I got to say, one of the things that impresses me most about this traveling show, this truck series, is you bring 600 horsepower into a foreign track and then try to control it. You're apt to look not as good as the weekly guys because they run every week and know it. Advantage goes Butler and Bliss and Press in that case. But all these drivers look so great and so professional at Portland, Oregon last week when we saw them, and again here today a little further north.
Skinner just got Press for position. This is only Press's 2nd ever truck race. It's the 2nd time he's ever been on radial tires. And as all these drivers will tell you, the radials are a tough deal to get used to.
You now have Skinner up into 5th position. Hornaday is in front of him in 4th. There's that 43 running in 3rd, Rich Bickle, who set on the pole. First time that the Chrysler folks had a pole position since Neil Bonnet back in '78 down there at Bristol, Tennessee in the old Armorall Dodge.
And that's the same truck that he won the pole with last weekend. He bent a truck arm early in the race. That's an arm that locates the rear end of the truck. That's why he spun out a couple of times real early. And he, Bickle, in that Dodge, is the only driver I talked to this morning who said, I've got a good setup for this race. He's not buzzing the tires coming off. He's not pushing going in. Those are the 2 principal symptoms most of the truck drivers have suffered from. And right now he is all over the number 52 of Toby Butler, the pole sitter.
The Cummings, number 43, is on a roll. It's up there. And right now, seeming to have a little problem with this thing is number 52, Toby Butler, falling back into the clutches of Rich Bickle. Meanwhile, pulling away to a 4-second advantage is Mike Bliss. Let's go trackside for more information.
Well, when you're talking about Rich Bickle, who's still attempting to close in on Toby Butler, the bottom line is he's had the most consistent chassis through about the first 60 laps or so of this race, other than Bliss's. Now he's got a nice, easy, slow push getting in, nice and smooth. He arcs the car, or arcs the truck around the corner, nice hard on the gas getting off. And I'll tell you what, Rich Bickle has got a great line through this track so far, and he's pushing Toby Butler going into 1 right now. Bickle is on the move.
What do you think, Ken? We're going to see a Dodge win for the first time in about 20 years in NASCAR?
Could see it right here today, folks. Don't go away. What a moment that would be, huh? He's got some work to do. Mike Bliss is so smooth up in front. 4 2/10 seconds. Back to this second place clash at the present time. Look at Rich Bickle looking to the inside, trying to find that hole area. He gets in there, and then he just eases back. He really is showing good throttle control.
You know, a lot of the drivers told me this morning that they tried to put a higher gear in the truck to try to compensate for the forward bite that they was not getting up on the straightaway, and they said all that would do is just slow their overall speeds down. And they said the tricky thing about it, you'll be up off the corner on the straightaway, and a lot like North Wilkesboro, all of a sudden the rear tires will just buzz one more time, especially across that bump coming off turn 4.
Some of them changed the carburetor throttle linkage. Some have gone to a progressive carburetor where only half of it opens up when you first get into it. Some of them have increased the length of throw on the gas pedal. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Bickle in the Dodge on the bottom.
For second place. With 136 laps left to go in this one. Here comes Rich Bickle. And the Cummings rig goes up into second place. Toby Butler falls to third in number 52. Mike Bliss continues to stay out in front, but pulling away from Butler now. Here's the number 43 from Petty Racing. Rich Bickle trying to make up for that double spin early in the going laps 6 and 9 a week ago in Portland, Oregon. There you see Mike Bliss continuing to tear away from this field. Remember, we got a halftime coming up at lap 100. That'll give him a chance to do a little reorganizing on these trucks at Monroe, Washington. We're back at lap 71, just under caution after Bobby Gill, just in front of the leader, loops it and taps the wall. Actually socked it pretty good up in turn number 3. Second caution of the day is extended at lap number 71, and there you see the crushed back end of number 75, the Chevy of Bobby Gill.
Yeah, they were torn up again last week at Portland, so that's 2 weeks in a row. Get a look at it here, right in front of the leader. That's your leader, Bliss, in the blue and white truck. And oh yeah, it looks like Gill got together with Sedgwick. Gill goes around backwards right in front of Bliss. He just gets through there.
Qualified in 19th today, and
that's a pretty hard hit. Larry, that's going to change the angle of the rear end of that truck, isn't it? Make it hard to run?
I'd say he's probably going to have a bent rear end and a trailing arm. You see a little bit of a fire coming out there, I think, as he tried to refire it. But, you know, just one of those deals. The guys was trying to stay on the lead lap. Mike Bliss was right on their bumper, and they just got to racing hard. And unfortunately, Bobby Gill come out on the short end of the stick there.
Sedgwick in Darrell Waltrip's truck, number 17. About to go a lap down when this happened, and let's take a look from the leader as to the situation coming into turn 3. Here comes the leader, Mike Bliss. You're riding with him down the back straightaway, just about to lap Sedgwick. You see in 17.
Well, good thing we didn't have a heartbeat monitor. We'd have broken the needle on that one.
So we'll take a quick break and then be back with 72 laps now complete, getting toward halfway, and the rubber getting toward pretty thin. Looking him over out in front. They took green at lap 73. We are now at lap 75 as you watch Mike Bliss staying just in front of Rich Bickle. Ford and Chrysler, Ford and Dodge up here in front. And then Chevrolet runs in third, about 20 lengths, truck lengths back. That's that number 52, Toby Butler, Ken Schrader's rig.
It's a race of experience versus a novice. Bliss has run here many, many times. Your leader in that number 2, the 43, Bickle, saw this race for this racetrack for the very first time this week when he showed up here. He has no experience on it other than the little bit of practice he has had here in preparation for this race, and what a job he's doing running in second spot.
Ron Hornaday having a great day from fourth from 11th, started in 11th position, and now the number 16 truck up to 4th. Barfield's had a great day, 14th to 7th thus far.
still looks like maybe Hornaday's truck still has a slight push up off the corner. That seems like where he loses the most ground is when he goes to get back in the throttle and goes to turn off the corner. The front end's just not sticking quite like it should.
Well, they've got that halftime to adjust the trucks, and they can make a lot of changes in the 10 minutes that they've got at halftime. They can do anything to the trucks except change front springs and front shocks. So that's just, they don't want to change the height of the truck, so they're not allowed to do that. But anything else they can change, including 4 tires. If they want, they can change the rear gear.
Butch Miller in that 8th spot, number 98. Right with him came Hensley in the 30. Rutman had been up in 10th in the 80. He got bounced out of the line. Fights his way back in, but he lost a couple of spots.
98 of Butch Miller. You might wonder where everybody's been working on these trucks as they go from one racetrack to the other. Butch Miller's truck had pulled into a hotel a few days ago. They got a phone call in the room from a guy named John Zardinsky, and John said, hey, I've got a garage right here, right across the street from the racetrack. Please bring your truck there and come work on it. And they sure did. They worked on it there all week. Zardinsky wouldn't take a dime. He said the only payment is next year when you come to Evergreen, you bring that truck and you work on it in my shop.
Great race fans in this part of the country. Now look at Sprague being challenged by Dan Press in the black number 53. Dan Press working. Press getting down on that inside.
That's a good sign that the truck just didn't turn, and also you get those wheels down off the racetrack, and that'll make it go ahead and turn and come up off the corner.
Skinner moving in on Hornaday for 4th. Skinner around the outside and give him 4th. Hornaday back to 5th. Hornaday, who won it last year and led everything but 7 laps, struggling here as we get to lap 83. 100 laps, the halfway mark. Steve Burns can give us more.
Well, Larry McReynolds was exactly right. I asked Doug Richard, Hornaday's crew chief, if he was still pushing. Doug grabbed an imaginary steering wheel and shook it back and forth very quickly, meaning, yeah, he's chasing it.
Meanwhile, up in front, Mike Bliss. Boy, he is Mr. Magic on those tires. Looking back, sees Rich Bickle directly behind him. Mike Bliss. I mean, he is the typical sprint car driver. There's not an ounce of body fat on this guy. It's all heart, bones, and brains.
In contrast, Bickle, the guy behind him, stands 6'5" and weighs 220 pounds, but I guess that gives him some pretty good left side weight, doesn't it, Ken?
And get McReynolds and Squire in there to help him along a little.
It's a good race for the lead. I tell you, the Dodge folks have got to be really excited. Larry Henry from Dodge is here to watch all this. Last week he watched the race. He was in a drag race, and he was in the back of somebody's hauler keeping an eye at the drag race with one eye, and the other eye was on the television set watching all this Dodges here and truck racing. I bet he's right about out of his skin now.
Well, Rich Bickle must have felt like Richard Petty was owed something after last week. He took it into 3 twice. It really looked like the brakes on the rear were set a little too tight. He spun it twice, right? You say it was an arm that was bent, but I wonder if that happened the first time. Anyway, he's really, you get so much chatter. You see it in sports cars. They begin to bounce around on the track. Oh, take a look at this as Sedgwick comes after Corelli.
Wait a minute, is this last week's race? Didn't we see this last week?
Replay for 11th position. Sedgwick coming to the inside of the 17. The High Plains Drifter drifted a little high up there in 4. Cranks it back to the bottom. In turns 1. Comes to the inside for 2. Holds it down there. Now Corelli in 94, he won 50% of the races that he ran. And he ran in, what, 6 different classes. This is some kind of racer. And of course the owner of this car, truck, they own that track at Denver where these vehicles will be racing a little later. Next race 2 weeks from now, Tucson, Arizona, where it all began. And I bet you Tucson can't wait to have these trucks back. Randy Pemberton, give us a little more on this story.
Well, it's pretty interesting to see 2 guys that ran so very well last week in Portland. Corelli finishes 6th. Sedgwick finishes 4th. They come here to this racetrack, and neither one of them are getting around as Sedgwick tries to drive underneath him, going into 1. But they're not getting around. As we drop the rack for the last restart, they're now already a half a track behind. Chassis not what they wanted. So we're going to follow up at halftime and see what 2 guys might do to take these trucks and possibly, potentially, make them winners in the second half. Larry McReynolds, can that be done in this day and age?
The way these guys can operate where they've got 10 or 12 minutes to adjust on these trucks and pretty much change about anything they want to change other than the front shocks or the front springs. And you know, I'm going to say you're probably going to see more changes going on during this half to some of these trucks than probably in any truck races that we've seen. But I'm going to tell you what, to catch this Rich Bickle and this Mike Bliss, they got their work cut out for them.
Take a look at this, Larry. There's Resendez in the 7th, and he has made a great run today. Resendez had started well back in the field, worked himself up into 7th spot. He's losing a spot to Sedgwick right now, back on the go.
I was told this is the same truck that they run at Portland last week. And just to show you what a close-knit group these teams of super trucks are, Ernie Cope opened his shop up to these guys and let them come over the truck.
Miller's around.
Miller.
All the way to the outside to get out of the way, get out of that race line. Butch Miller in the 98, loops it. Miller running in 13th. Caution is out as we get to lap number 93. Caution on the track for Butch Miller, the great ASA champion from the Midwest, who's moved into this NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series and been so impressive.
And has finished on the lead lap of every single event where the truck wasn't torn up or broken in some other way.
Another look at what happened here.
That's Miller on the bottom of the 98, Sedgwick behind him. One truck on the outside, the 22, 21, and there he goes. Just too much traffic. See you later.
Too much traffic and some wore-out tires. That's about what you can account that for.
Good point, Larry. The worn-out tires count for a whole lot.
At the end of 200 laps, folks, it's going to get wild here today. Skinner passed Butler for 3rd. Just moments before that yellow. We'll take a quick break and then be back. 93 complete, coming to halfway here in Monroe, Washington, with the NASCAR Craftsman Trucks. Coming back, ready for more action with 95 laps complete, just about to halftime in this 200-lap event. And we've got a dandy here in the Northwest today.
And a full field of trucks still, Ken. Of the 32 trucks that started, 30 of them are still running. Lonnie Cox and Mike Herbert have been pushed behind the wall, but everybody else is still here. It's still a big field.
Mike Bliss to bring them down in the lead. Rich Bickle's number 43 in 2nd, and Skinner has now moved into 3rd position. Toby Butler in the Schrader number 52 in 4th, and then comes Hornaday, the winner here a year ago and the winner last week at Portland, Oregon. Hornaday ducks to the inside, comes up on a couple of lap trucks, finds himself in the pocket, pulls to the outside, and wheels around them.
What a start,
around Nemechek.
What a start Mike Bliss got. He just took off. Strong, strong truck Mike Bliss has today.
He said at the outset it would be a matter of being able to save tires. Keselowski in trouble. He nearly stuffed in the wall in turn 4. Gathers it back up and keeps going. But Bliss, so gentle on that throttle. We'll be with Barry Dotson, his crew chief, when he brings that in to see what he has to say to it.
Jack Sprague there right behind Hornaday. His crew chief says his driver doesn't know how good he is, and he is spending a lot of time trying to talk Jack Sprague into realizing how good he is, and that ought to help quite a bit right there.
5th spot, Sprague, number 24, moves in. Hornaday falls back 1. Here comes number 30 on the outside, and watch Jimmy Hensley at work. He may have had an owly stomach all week, but he sure looks in top form right now. Hensley rolls the number 30 up on the outside of Hornaday in that battle for 6. Now you see Sedgwick out here.
Hensley solidly got him, doing a great job. Hensley's only run 6 of these up till today. Finished 3 of them. His best finish was last week at a 10th.
Complete. Put out the flag this next time by. First half about to come to an end. With Bliss put out. We've got trouble up in turn 2. We've got a spinner going around is Nemechek in the Chevy. That Chevy truck wheels around. Flag comes down at halfway. Showing you the rundown at lap 99. Field way down to finish this part of the race. The first half is over. Intermission time here at the Evergreen Fairgrounds in Monroe, Washington. And Mike Bliss made mincemeat out of the field in the first half. Let's take a look at what happened to John Nemechek out there for a moment, Dick Bergman.
John Nemechek is driving the same truck that was crashed at Homestead. There he is, about in the middle of the track. Looked as if he got a little tap at the back end, potentially, and whether he did or whether he didn't, John Nemechek certainly goes round and round.
Doug George taking some good evasive action in the 21 to the inside. We're going to be eavesdropping on Barry Dotson as the leader comes in. Since Barry Dotson came on board as crew chief for Bliss, this team has a win at North Wilkesboro.
And that third person just told me that. Thank you.
That's the other race where they only had 14 laps of caution last year. They've had a pair of runner-up efforts. Bakersfield, Portland last week, runner-up. Dotson looks him over, ready to bring him in. They come around this time.
How hot are we right now?
Larry McReynolds.
Get out here.
Impressive. This guy, Bliss. He kept that thing in front. He kept it floored, but he still looked like he had compound to play with at the end of that race. Those tires still looked like they were holding.
Everything about their truck looked impressive. It was really handling through the corners, and I'm going to tell you something else. That truck was handling down the straightaways. I mean, Barry's got this truck handling good. The motor guys has got it running, and Mike Bliss run a smart first segment. He took advantage and took care of his tires when he could, but when he got the traffic, he was able to deal with them and get by with them.
That 2 truck is running just a little bit warm. It'll be interesting to see if they take some tape off the grill, or if they even have any tape to take off the grill of that truck. Cool it down a little bit in the second half.
So now the man in the corner for Mike Bliss, ready to get him ready for round 2 is Barry Dotson.
Tire sheet. Let's get David when we get them off, because we rode around too long. Let's get 4 tires on it so we can talk about this thing.
43 is stopped on the track. Rich Bickle up here in turn 4. Second place just comes to a halt.
It is getting a push. Look at this. Walker Evans is going to push him into the pit area.
Barry Dotson waiting. Bliss is in. Let's listen.
Let's go. Okay, I put some wedge in it before the race. If you're good off, we can go with the same air pressure and take a little bit of that out.
I like the wedge off.
Now,
I like the wedge off the corner.
Yeah.
It's driving off good. We got to get it into the corner. I have to slow down to turn it.
Okay,
long runs.
You know what we did last week with air pressure?
Needs a little more than that.
A little more than that. Okay, I'll go half out, half in over there.
We're still all right.
Mike Bliss in front of me right now talking to me. Watch it.
Mike, things going pretty good for you in the AFC Sport this afternoon, boy. It just keeps getting better and better for you.
Yeah, the AFC.
Well, there you heard the comments between Barry Dotson and the leader at the present time, Mike Bliss.
All right, here's what I think I understood him saying, Ken. I couldn't hear him really that good, but evidently the truck is just a little bit pushy up off the corner. So what Barry was talking about doing was taking wedge out, which is taking weight off of the right front, off of the left rear, putting it on the left front and on the right rear. That will help the truck to turn. But evidently Mike Bliss feels like that wedge is what's giving him good forward bite up off the corner. He don't want that wedge out. So what Barry's going to do to compensate, it sounds like he's going to take a little air pressure out of the left rear tire, put a little bit in the right rear tire. What that will do, that will actually make the left rear spring think it's a little softer and the right rear spring think it's a little stiffer. That will help the truck turn off the corner, but he's still got the bite to help the forward bite and acceleration up off the corner.
We're going to take a quick break and then take you right back in the corner as Barry Dotson works it out, handles Mike Bliss, and tries to get him ready to win at Evergreen today.
Tense moments down here in the pits for Rich Bickle and crew. Rich, you had to get a push in. What happened?
Well, I thought the carburetor run over. Unfortunately, I don't know how we did it. We ran out of gas. I can't believe 100 laps on a 5/8 mile racetrack run out of gas. Something we didn't get it full or something like that happened. But
You know, Mike Bliss run really good, but we just made a little change here, and hopefully the Cummins Dodge and Georgia Pacific people will be happy with what we're done, and maybe we'll come back and pull this thing out.
Is that any concern to you running something out of gas like that? Any vapor lock, anything like that?
No, because it did it under the yellow there. You know, I mean, it did it like 2 laps ago, and it kept running, but then finally I thought the thing run over on the float run over, but. Fortunately, you know, maybe we have a little luck today instead of last 3 weeks. They say it comes in threes, and maybe today is going to be our day. Have a good finish.
Nice ride for you so far. Steve Burns?
Well, Ron Hornaday has just buckled in for the second half. Ron and Doug Richard have been fighting a very tight truck. Ron, can you get this thing straightened out for the second half?
Oh, yeah, we just we did what we accomplished to do with the Snapper Chevrolet. We tightened it up, and we didn't think we'd tighten it that bad, but we made a couple changes with some lead and stuff, so we'll be all right. We just... I didn't think the truck was that good. I couldn't get the tires to spin on that last half, so we'll try to save this right front on the second half.
Well, Ron Hornaday said stand on it and turn left.
I'd like to get him real quick. Well, Rick Corelli's sitting here. Rick, not quite the chassis you had last week. What did you do to fix it here at halftime?
Right now we're changing this sway bar a little bit, and we'll see if we can get it to rotate a little bit through the middle of the corner. We're real tight right in the center, you know, and I want to say happy birthday to my daughter Calissa, my son Dominic, and Brian at home. But you know, Dad's out here trying, but I think we're gonna give it a good shot. I think save the tires towards the end and let her go.
Okay, good luck next week. Steve Burns?
And we're over here at Dan Press's truck. The crew chief here is Lizard Finegra. This team is very proud of what they've done running in the top 10. Lizard, can you guys get more competitive in the second half even?
Well, we really hope to do a little bit better. I'm out of breath here. Class Act coating, CPI Advantage memory. Truck is just doing phenomenal out there. Dan, you got to hand it to Dan. That guy can turn a wheel like nothing else. But no, we made a few changes. You can see the truck was pretty fast the first part of the first half. I think we can do it again.
Okay, Lizard, let's go to Randy Pemberton.
Bill Sedgwick, a fourth last week. The chassis wasn't under you in the first half. What'd you do to it?
We had the tires a little low on the start, and I'll tell you what, this diehard crew, they just keep coming. You know, it's a shame to get involved in a yellow there, but we needed to stay on the lead lap in this deal. And
okay, let's go back upstairs.
Corelli in 9th, Dan Press running in 10th, 13 cars remaining in the lead lap with Barfield on the end of that, Rutman 12th, Resendez 11th, and Press in 10th, Corelli, Hornaday, and the rest of the gang up in front as you see there. Back in a moment. Oh, a couple of leaders, average speed 62 miles an hour. We've had just, let's see, 4 cautions, two out. I haven't got the total number of laps for you here, and two lap leaders thus far, Mike Bliss and Toby Butler. About what, 10 laps that we've had under caution. And these are the 2 trucks out of the race, Mike Hurlbut and Lonnie Cox. Both have had engine failures thus far. This mid-race update brought to you by MBNA NASCAR MasterCard, the official card of NASCAR. Call 1-800-34-NASCAR to apply. That's 1-800-34-NASCAR to apply. There's the 43 truck, and my question to Larry McReynolds is either somebody goofed or the issue could it be pickup? I mean, you saw them refueling the thing stopped up here right on the track line.
I really hate to second guess what Rich was thinking, but I just don't believe. I believe the truck was full of gas when he started the event because one, that's part of your overall weight. You have to weigh a certain amount. The fuel pickups in these things are in the right rear corner. The reason he didn't run out, I think, till it got under caution, centrifugal force, G-forces, throws the fuel to the right rear where the pickup's at. The minute it went under caution, there's no more G-forces generated, and the fuel pickup was not picking up the fuel. If I was Rich Bickle's crew chief, I'd be hoping the last 20, 25 laps this thing's run under green.
Wide open.
Hopefully the pickup will pick up the fuel.
Big issue for the guy in second place. Randy can add a bit.
Well, the bottom line is, guys, you wouldn't believe it, but they dumped 22 gallons of gas in this truck here at halftime, and that's all she'll fit, plus the fuel lines. I've got Timmy Petty standing here. Timmy, does this thing not get good gas mileage or what?
Well, it takes gas to feed that horsepower, you know what I mean?
Okay, that's it from Timmy Petty. He's got the engine that was on the pole last week. He's running well this week. Steve Burns.
Randy, Mike Bliss has just backed out with Barry Dodson, who is talking to Mike. Barry, catch us up. What are you guys dealing with?
We cooled it off a little bit. It's been really cold here this morning, and more tape naturally reduces front lift and makes it turn better, and that's what everybody's been fighting, is turning in the middle. Had a little bit too much, so we took the tape off, and
and tried to compensate with a half-pound of air pressure in both rear tires and a little bit of wedge. And we didn't want to do much. We got behind the Homestead and Phoenix by not finishing. And same as last week, we want a good run here. If the wind comes, we'll take it. We want to get back in the thick of this thing.
Okay, Barry, best of luck.
Barry Dotson's truck running up in front. First place, Mike Bliss. As we look at the full field as they line up on a restart. Rich Bickle in second position, trying to give Dodge their first major NASCAR Touring Series win since November 1977. That time it was Neil Bonnet nipping Richard Petty in a thrilling finish. That was at Ontario. Fontana, California, ready for 1997. 2-mile track, similar to the track at Michigan. Banks not quite as high. Ought to be a great competitive facility, Larry. And the man that's in charge of getting that thing together, Les Richter, is here as race director. Dennis Huth up there in New Hampshire, where that race has been canceled. Grand National will compete tomorrow up there on that mile at Bob Baer's facility. But big time with the race here today for the coach who used to promote races right on this very track.
Well, you know, Les Richter, he has a knack for whatever he works on, it succeeds. He's been a big part of the IROC series, and what better could it be right now? And there's no question in my mind, when it's all said and done, that facility in Southern California is something we're all going to be proud of.
Let's go to Randy with more on that Mike Bliss truck.
Well, it was pretty amazing watching all these guys work on these trucks at halftime. They can do anything to them except for the front shocks on these trucks, but they will do anything as well. Barry Dotson handed me a 4-leaf clover that he picked up at halftime and said, that's it right there. Hang on to this thing for me, because that right there is going to make us win. So, man, they'll try anything to get to victory lane.
I'd have taped that thing in the truck, wouldn't you, Ken?
Absolutely. I wouldn't have
give it to Randy.
That's right. Well, Randy's going to have a great broadcast, but I don't know about the truck.
Hey, quickly, coming up on Turner, Sunday, May 26th, the Big E, the Coca-Cola 600 from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Of course, Larry McReynolds, 1991. Who will forget that tremendous victory that you had with Davey Allison? And now you're getting ready with Ernie Irvin and Dale Jarrett to rep. And I know you've been testing hard there. How are things coming for that May 26th race, Larry?
Well, you know, the changes that NASCAR give us, it's certainly in the right direction. We had a good test out there. We're headed to the wind tunnel on Tuesday. And I got to say, you know, I've been a part of 20-something wins as a crew chief. Probably next to the Daytona 500, winning the Coca-Cola World 600 probably ranks right up there with it.
Okay. Well, Bobby Labonte will be back. That tremendous surprise victory for Joe Gibson, that 600 a year ago, and we'll be there to bring it all to you. Big hour-and-a-half pre-race show. We'll take you out to Springfield, Illinois, show you a fantastic 25 laps of motorcycle racing on 2 wheels, 140 miles an hour. Then we'll be down there for the 600. Going to be, wish you could be with us. But anyway, quickly, we got to get down here, see what Steve Burns is up to with the guy that's put that number 52 together.
Tim Cahuth is Toby Butler's crew chief. Tim, what are you guys going to do in the second half?
Well, we made a few little adjustments here just to try to get the whole truck to stick a little better. We were pretty much had like a 4-wheel drift. We didn't change a whole lot. Toby thinks he's just going to change his driving just a little bit. We'll ride it out and see where we end up. Right now, we're having a pretty decent run.
Is the boss man, Ken Schrader, watching at home?
I imagine he's watching at home, yes.
All right, thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
Butler, number 52, in 4th position. And the pace truck comes in. Bliss is in 1st. Bickle is in 2nd. Skinner is 3rd. Butler 4th. Sprague is 5th. Sedgwick 6th. Hensley 7th, followed by Hornaday. Then Corelli in 10th. Dan Press. Resendez 11th. Ruttman 12th. Barfield 13th. Those are the 13 in the lead lap. Green is back on and we're racing at Evergreen, Monroe, Washington. 6/10 of a mile track. And the NASCAR Craftsman Trucks underway. We've got one in the wall right here by the start line as they came across. They're going to throw the yellow for number 72. Kevin Harvick has slammed the wall just as he came down to the stripe. Caution out as they come out of the corner and everybody's lifted.
Boy, he hit it hard too. Harvick really nailed that wall.
Big time.
Yeah.
Kevin Kid Harvick, age 20.
And I think he's about to identify the driver he thinks is the culprit in his situation.
Bakersfield, California racer. think he waved at Walker Evans, and it wasn't just hi, how are you?
No. Well, that'll be the third truck out.
We've got it for you. We can show you what happened here on this start. Out of 4.
Big racetrack. They get really whistling here, even on the starts.
Kid Harvick, 95 Southwest Winston champion, rather rookie of the year. Got lifted.
Yeah, he just came right out of the pack. That is Walker Evans that was behind him. Hard to blame somebody in a deal like that. You never know if somebody was pushing Walker or exactly what was going on. It's easy for the driver whose truck is as wrecked as Harvick's is to point a finger, but it's awful hard for us to do it.
You know, restarts are sometimes the worst thing, you know, because different people have different ratios in their transmission gearboxes. Maybe this one goes a little better in second, this one goes a little better in third, and they just start kind of stacking up on each other.
The 44 truck is also Brian Refner's truck is still in the pits, and Steve Burns is right there.
Ken, bad news for Refner, who has finished 5th, 4th, and 7th this year. Last year's ASA champion has a broken rocker arm.
3rd in points coming into today's program. This outstanding racer out of a great racing family. Refner sitting there in Ernie Irvin's truck, pondering what might have been today.
So what do you think, Larry? Broken rocker arm. Everybody's saying that the tires are buzzing coming out of the corners. What do you do in a deal like that? Go with 7 cylinders?
I believe that's what I would do, again, especially if you're in their position. I think they're about 3rd in the points, so they got to get out there and make as many laps as they can. They don't want to do anything to tear the engine up, but they need to get back out on that racetrack.
We're going to take a break, then return. 103 of the 200 laps have been completed here in the Craftsman NASCAR Truck Series from Evergreen, Washington.
Truck is pushing. You talk about handling problems. Even the forklift is pushing today.
No, you can hit that address all weekend, Saturday and Sunday. As we get ready at 5 o'clock, we're going to be underway with the 600, and boy, that truck really got crushed. You see that wall being pushed back. You see the tire mark there on the wall. Lucky that wall moved.
Good point. It really is, because as a result of having moved, the wall itself absorbed a good bit of the impact, and based on the amount of truck damage that Harvick, you can see it right there, Harvick's truck is really torn up. Imagine how badly it would be torn up had the wall not absorbed some of the impact.
There's been a lot of times that 28 car hit the wall. I wish that wall would have moved just a little bit.
You've had some drivers who've tried awfully hard to move the wall.
Boy, there you can see the name of the tire pressed into that wall. And here's what happened. Here's how that particular mark was created. Some souvenir.
Oh, that hurts just watching it. And he'll feel it tomorrow, I am sure.
1 to go when they come to the line. How confident are you that you can replicate what you did down at Daytona at Charlotte, May 26th, that win you had with Jarrett, Larry?
Well, we certainly hope we can. Again, the compensation that NASCAR's given us with the new Ford roof line, we certainly think it's directionally right. We still don't know if it's going to put us where we need to be, but you know, our goal is to go there and try to win it with either that 28 or that 88, get Dale Jarrett that second leg of that Winston Million, or get Ernie Irvin the first leg.
Better look out. Tim Brewer's coming to that Lincoln Continental. Let's go in and get more on Rich Bickle.
Well, I gotta say, these guys were happy to see that caution. Unfortunate for Kevin, but the 43 team like to see him run about 3 more laps of caution just to make sure that they can get to the finish of this race. They think they can.
Down for a start in the second half. 106 will be complete. 107 when they come to the line. 107 as they come to the line. Pace truck ready to bring them in.
So many questions as we look at this second segment beginning to open up. Will Bliss's truck be able to run cool enough with having taken all the tape off? Refner's back out. Will he be able to run all the way? Bickle running in second spot. Is he going to run out of gas before this thing is all done and over with? And then there's the number 3 truck, the champion Skinner. Is he going to finally win one this year?
Refner back in 26th position, being shown 6 laps down, as is Dockin. 8 laps down is Harvick in 28th. Midori 29th, or rather in 29th. 12 laps down, getting ready on this restart. They put the flag out. Chris Morgan, excellent starter, puts this one back under green. And immediately, Rich Bickle in number 43 moves in on Bliss. This is the story right on the point. And there's Skinner in the 3 and down to the inside. Bliss going high. Dodge going out in front. Mike Bliss dropping the Ford back in the 2nd spot. The Chevy running in 3rd. Will this be Chrysler's first win in some 20 years in a major touring season?
Bickle says he's got a real good truck today, and he is proving it. Great chassis under that thing, but will he have enough gas to take it all the way to the end?
Sedgwick dives to the inside on Sprague for 5th spot. What a struggle that one is, just in front of him. You see Hensley as he begins to move out. Rich Bickle in front going into turn 3. Here you are a little further back in the pack, and that's Jimmy Hensley. Boy, he may have had a tummy problem all week, but he's giving everyone else bigger problems here this afternoon. Hornaday really clobbered the back end of Hensley on that start. We can take another look at that in a moment. Here it is, Dick Berggren.
Yeah, we're riding with Hornaday now. That's Hensley up in front of him. Here's the start. Boom. Oh, he hit him good.
That set his head back.
Yep. Hello, wall.
That got him fired up. Ridgeway, Virginia's pride, the great Jimmy Hensley, is coming through traffic. Meanwhile, up in front, Rich Bickle from Petty Engineering has the lead. Mike Bliss is in 2nd spot. You saw Bliss go high coming out of 4 over that big bump up there. And look at Hornaday, last year's winner in a walkover, led everything but 7 laps. Struggling here for the moment. Sedgwick has the man himself, Jimmy Hensley, on the inside of that number 30. That's for 5th position.
And last year, Sedgwick was one of the only people that could do anything at all with Hornaday. He got down a lap as a result of some brake problems, but managed to pass Hornaday in an open field to unlap himself. So Sedgwick can run fast here, too.
It's a take no prisoners day for the Dodges. Whoa, Sedgwick getting, slammed there. Refner on the inside. Correction, Hornaday. Hornaday on the inside. Into 16. He slugs it out. That's for 6th spot, and he's got it. Ron Hornaday.
You can see the donut on the door, too, Ken. Jack Sprague there right behind the 17. Sprague currently running in 8th spot. Does not run as well on the short tracks as he has run on the big speedways with his truck so far this year.
Bending sheet metal and slapping paint out here. Full contact racing. The big trucks are rolling today in the Northwest. The Craftsman NASCAR Series looking good.
You know, I'd be interested to find out what kind of changes they did make on Hornaday's truck. It certainly looks a lot better right now than it did in the early part of the 1st segment. The question is, will it still be there, still be turning, and good forward bite at the end of this 2nd 100 laps?
Looking off, Mike Bliss in 2nd spot. Back to Skinner in 3rd. The man they've got to chase right now is number 43, the Cummins engine Dodge Ram.
Skinner in that number 3 says the biggest thing he's had to learn in truck racing is patience. He credits Will Lind, who is his crew chief, and he's here all the time, with helping him ever so much, and Richard Childress as well, his truck owner. And his wife, Beth, who he says cuts him no slack at all in the patience department. He gets over-aggressive with that truck, and Beth gets over-aggressive with him on the ride home. Give a call to Toby Butler. He is running real well in Ken Schrader's truck.
Having a great ride.
Still got both his thumbs, too, Ken.
You know, you heard Timmy Cahoon say the whole truck was just sliding around. It wasn't like one end was more than the other. Very well, what they might have done is let air pressure out of all 4 tires and just give it better grip all the way around, especially late into the run.
Look at Jimmy Hensley here. He is making some run. He catches up on Toby Butler just in front of him in that AC Delco rig. Hensley, 5th place.
Toby Butler is such a hometown hero around here that in 1993, when he left Evergreen Speedway to go south and try to make his fortune in big-time racing, the fans chipped in and they gave him a new fire suit that said Evergreen Speedway, and that's the one he's wearing today.
There you see Press in the 53. Working on Sprague. Got him. Took 8th spot. Dan Press qualified 10th up to 8th. Sprague back to 9th in the 24. 19 laps are now complete of the 200. And here's Hensley looking inside, looking outside, moving in on the AC Delco number 52 Schrader rig, Toby Butler. Butler's mom works here at the racetrack. Sister's a big race fan. She said this is so thrilling for us to get him back in this part of the country. Only see him a couple of times a year. Look at Hensley trying a little higher line there, Larry.
You know, that's the thing now. Now'd be a good time to search around before this segment gets too old and find out where does my truck work the best. Will it work better getting in low and letting it drift up high or entering high? Search around a little bit for that best groove that suits your truck the best.
Last win for Petty Engineering, Petty Enterprises, Charlotte Motor Speedway, October 1983. King Richard's 198 career win. The last one in 198. The famous Pettygate episode with the Dodge.
Ken, these trucks, they really look quite equal right now. And if you watch the last few laps of that first segment, it's like Bliss was not that much better than Bickle. I just believe Bickle got by Bliss when he drifted up high in 3 and 4, and now Bickle's got the position of leading the race.
Bickle's strategy is to try to get turn 2 exactly right. He thinks that's the best possible place to gain time at Evergreen, and he has focused almost all of his practice on turn 2. Hornaday has passed Toby Butler for position in the 4. He's in 4th spot now.
Now, before you get all aflutter and say, what do you mean 198? He did happen to win a couple more, including Daytona 200. But remember, that is Petty Enterprises. Mike Curb car when he won those other races. Take a look at Hornaday getting down to the inside on Toby Butler and putting the move on. Ooh. Hello. Yeah. That's short track racing, folks. I don't think you get to see it better anywhere. And these guys look so professional. Here they are in a foreign track with 600 horsepower, working so smooth, working so great. Steve Burns can tell us more about Hornaday, now in 4th spot.
Larry McReynolds wondered about the changes. I talked to Doug Richard. The changes they made to the 16, he said they increased air pressure. He wouldn't say how much, but in terms of wedge, 4 rounds worth. And Larry, you can explain what that means.
Larry, before you do, you just saw that move. Here's Hornaday still rolling up through into 3rd. Excuse me.
I tell you, 4 rounds of bite, and I got to believe with their truck pushing, they took bite out or wedge out. That's a lot of wedge, but obviously it's working right now. As long as he can keep good forward bite up off the corner, that wedge out of the truck will definitely be good.
And he's closing on those 2 leaders. Skinner couldn't do it. Butler couldn't do it. But right now, Hornaday, last year's winner, is doing it. He's cutting the interval between the 2 leaders. Bickle in 1st, Bliss in 2nd, and cutting it dramatically.
And if you were to ask Doug Richard how they won last week's race, he would give you 2 words: tire management. And that certainly is one of the main things that they worked on at the halfway point, is making sure the tires are still under that truck at the tail end. You can see they're all close together up front, and the guy with the best tires and who's doing the smartest line, best chance to win this race.
Toby Butler in the 52 back in 5th spot. Here come your leaders. Rich Bickle into the main straightaway. Mike Bliss chasing him down into turn number 1. Take a look at this side by side. On the inside, Toby Butler. On the outside, the number 3, Mike Skinner. And with him comes Jimmy Hensley. Boy, Ridgeway, Virginia's going to be proud of Jimmy tonight. Sticks it right in there. And this is the truck that Dennis Setzer put on that sensational show to 2nd place at Milwaukee, Wisconsin last year. Hensley is rocking and rolling here today.
And remember Hensley last year in that 30 truck at Bristol, where he almost won the race. I mean, he was right out there until the engine let go on him.
1st, 2nd, and 3rd in a crunch.
Oh, this is nice. Oh. This is nice. This is what you come to the races for. 3 trucks, all looking for the lead, all very evenly matched. Hornaday looking at the bottom.
And you know what? There's 99 NASCAR short tracks, and every week you can go to everything from the Ace Speedway down to North Carolina to Yakima, Washington, and see action like this.
They're going to run here tonight. believe it or not. They are going to race
here.
Yep.
Well, and if it try to get home now.
And if it rains tonight, Ken, they're going to run anyway. They do run here in the rain. The cars have windshield wipers. They groove and sipe the tires.
Hey, let's not forget, we're going to see those Winston Cup stars in Japan on rain tires. If it rains over there, they're going to run in the wet. How do you feel about that, Nick Reynolds?
I don't know about these rain. You know, I guess the figure 8 racing that they have here, that's the reason that wall moves like it did. I guess when they get ready to run those figure 8s, they just pick the wall up and move it.
Sure, they can move it in less than an hour.
Some of the figure 8 cars can move it in a half a second, too.
Now, we may run into figure 8 trucks out here very shortly. Look at this. Rich Bickle continuing to lead the way. And for Chrysler race fans, it's been a long time. What a struggle.
Breback moving over, just letting everybody go by. He realizes he is a lapped truck.
Hornaday, you're riding with him in third spot as he eases it down, just like he has an egg under that throttle, being so careful. Look at Bliss coming back up.
Well, it's going to be interesting. They're just a little ways away from catching some lap trucks, and that's when this racing will really get heated up.
Rich Bickle leading. But it's only by a hiccup.
Remember, Hornaday in the 16 started 11th last week and won. He started 11th today. He's looking, oh, real close. Hornaday on the bottom.
Making the move. Rich Bickle's got 225 short track wins. He needs all of his experience right now, because here comes Hornaday, last year's champion on this track. Whoa. And down to the inside, trying to make it 3 wide.
Somebody's going to run out of racetrack there.
Somebody is going to lose some racetrack for sure.
It's Bliss in the 2 on the bottom. He's trying to steal the lead.
And if they open up that inside, Hornaday's there. Bliss going back in front. They've got Bickle pinned on the outside.
Bickle got his spot back. Bickle tucks into second now. Hornaday, look at Hornaday with 2 wheels in the grass. Oh.
Back straight away. Give it back to Bliss. Here comes Hornaday side by side. Who wants to live first? Thank you. Take it in at 130 miles an hour. You got to be so smooth, so easy, and you got to be so bloody aggressive if you want to be any kind of a short track champion. This is what it's all about. Super speedways are great when you see this kind of action. And here comes Bickle right back on the inside of Hornaday. Tries to hook him out of turn 2. Right on him.
Great stuff.
Hornaday in the second spot. Put away and giggle about all those rounders and all of that, but I'll tell you, you put 7 years in grade to make a great champion on short track, and you're seeing 3 of the best right here. Hornaday, Bickle, and this guy, Mike Bliss. You're going to hear a lot more about Mike Bliss in time to come. Out in front, sure, it's his home track, and he knows this asphalt, a little worn, a little old asphalt, but he knows it like the razor knows the side of his face, and he's giving these folks here in his home country something to cheer about today. The Northwest standing proud.
He's opened some distance between himself and the second place truck of Hornaday. Bit of a surprise. They were all over each other for so many laps. Now they've opened up. How come?
Well, ask the doctor. You got Mick Reynolds right there.
It's maybe like all of that racing, 2 wheels down in the grass. Maybe Hornaday got the goodie out of his tires. You know, it's still got 60-something laps to go. Mike Bliss now is back where he was about 40 laps into the first segment. That's with a nice lead.
Are those front ends sensitive enough in the trucks, Larry, to knock out, say, toe in, caster, camber, doing that, just jump over the edge like that a little bit?
Well, you know, Moog certainly makes us some awesome front end components as far as ball joints and tie rod ends, and you really got to take a pretty good lick on that front end, but you can knock the toe out, and certainly put a lot of toe out in the front of the truck can certainly make a truck push a lot worse than it would.
Let me tell you, folks, if you have not seen the trucks live as you watch the 53 beginning to hurry up and get in here, Dan Press is beginning to move. Let me tell you where you can see these trucks next. The Western Swing continues in 2 weeks. Tucson, Arizona. Then they move on up to Denver, Colorado. From there down to Topeka, Kansas. And they start heading back toward the east, Bristol, Tennessee. Then coming up on the 30th of June, Nazareth, Pennsylvania. July the 6th, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Then to that great track in Louisville, Kentucky. And then to I-70 Speedway, Odessa, Missouri. The 53 car, Dan Press, is on a roll. Let's get more about that story down to the pits.
Well, it's flat amazing. The guy made no starts in 1995. Last weekend, he shows up in Portland, and he finishes 29th. But they go in there at halftime, they make some great adjustments, and other than Bliss right now, that is the best chassis on this racetrack, and he is pressing Bickle hard, and he's getting ready to go by Bickle and get to Hornaday. Dan Press with a flat-out amazing run here this afternoon.
Another runner. This is another campaigner out of the Northwest. He's from Vader, Washington. He knows this track, but he went down south, ran the Southwest Tour. He was the champion there a few years ago. He's 47 years old. Last weekend, 23rd to 10th before he had an alternator problem. Today, that number 53 is looking good. Started racing down at the old Saugus track, the late Saugus track, in 1973, Dan Press. Now you're back with Hornaday. He's in second spot. Looking out back, there's Bickle, and Press has now come to fourth.
That grill that you see in Bickle's truck, that's an actual metal grill. That's not something that's been hand fabricated by the teams. You can see it in all the Dodges have got that metal grill, and right now I think Hornaday's seeing more of that metal than he'd like to.
Lapping Lance Norrick out of Oklahoma City. That kid could be a comer in years to come. He's only 27.
Let me tell you, Press is all over that 43. You can see it in these pictures. Press in the black truck. Bickle is between the truck the camera is in and Press. This performance by Dan Press does not surprise anyone here in the western part of the United States who have watched him year after year race on these West Coast flat racetracks. He is a brilliant, smooth race car truck driver.
And what makes you feel good is to come to a track like this on a Saturday afternoon. Of course, it started around noon out here. Still working time for most folks. When they introduced Dan Press, standing ovation. These folks know him and they respect him and they love him.
Did you catch that race car truck driver, Ken? That was that. Yeah, I said race car truck driver. That's because he runs race cars well and runs race trucks well and got me out of calling it a car.
I got to remember that. That's a good one. Look at Rich Bickle getting around Keselowski in the 29. Keselowski had a great run, and we're back up front again. There's your leader, Mike Bliss. We're going to sneak in a break right now at lap 150. This is a dandy, folks. Hope you're enjoying it here on TBS Today, home of the 600 Memorial Day. Back with you once again, the Evergreen Fairgrounds, Monroe, Washington, 0.6 of a mile, 200 laps, $250,000 at stake today. As the Nascar Craftsman Trucks continuing to roll. Mike Skinner in the number 3. Resting back in 6th spot. What's the story, Steve Burns?
Mike Skinner radioed in a while ago and complained of a vibration in the drivetrain. He hasn't said anything recently. He must just be gritting his teeth.
Number 52, just in front of him. Question on that.
Skinner's doing great.
Toby Butler in the 52, right there in front of him. Toby Butler. Getting challenged by Skinner.
He's doing more than gritting his teeth, Skinner is. He is trying everything he can try to get by Butler. Doing that with a vibration in the truck has got to take a tremendous amount of concentration, because a vibration invariably means that something is about to go wrong. Vibrations don't go away.
They really don't. You know, and it could be any number of things. It could be something starting to go away in the motor or the transmission or the gear. And it's like Dick Beatty used to tell us, if you get a vibration, come in, because it ain't going to go away.
Well, there's Skinner moving around Butler. Puts him into 5th. Drops the Schrader machine back a spot. Toby Butler hanging out at 6th. And look at the 53. Dan Press all over, ready to wallop. Number 43, Rich Bickle on the outside. That's the struggle that's going on for 3rd spot now.
You know, Ken, I can't help thinking when I look at that 43 truck about it using 22 gallons of gas in 60-something miles. You know, that's going to be something interesting to watch as this segment winds down.
65 miles. Gosh, and still even, and Dan Press just isn't going to let go.
This isn't helping anybody's tires.
Look at Bickle. Nice piece of driving, and Dan Press through the block.
All the way in the grass.
Yeah.
I was a part of a car that tried 2 wheels in the grass a couple of years ago, and it normally don't work.
Automotive gardening.
You were part of a car that did it once and worked. Won the Winston.
We did that. We had all 4 wheels in the grass and going backwards.
Next on TBS, the 600. We'll be there with you with the 300 Grand National Race on Saturday and Sunday at 5 o'clock Memorial Day. Going out for a picnic, take the kids out to the beach, whatever. You come back, and around 9 or 9:30 at night, you're going to see the sparks fly and the fireworks in the air at the Great Charlotte Motor Speedway right here on TBS.
And one of the things that's so much fun about that race at Charlotte is the fact that it starts in the daylight, then goes at night. 2 years in a row, we've had 2 first-time winners in Winston Cup. It's just a fun race. And they put in more grandstands because there's so many people trying to get into the place. They're going to be out in the streets days before the race scalping tickets. It's a good one. Be sure and be with us.
Sprague in 11th position, number 24.
Butch Miller behind him in the number 98, challenging for position. Miller was 3rd here last year. That was the middle of that streak of 5 events where Miller finished 3rd. It started at Portland, and then we came here and he finished 3rd. Then it went to Odessa where he was 3rd. Louisville he was 3rd. Bristol he was 3rd. Then he quit being 3rd for a while.
You see the Miller number 98. That's being shown a couple of laps down at this point in the race. Butch Miller in the Ray Vestas number 98. Back a bit. Putting out a little smoke. What do you think, Larry? Looks pretty good there.
Yeah. Now, once in a while, you'll pick up a little wisp of smoke out of these trucks. They'll either rub a tire against another truck, touch it against the wall, or even touch it against a piece of bodywork in the truck itself and put a little smoke. You see a black mark on the right rear corner of Miller's truck. That may have been where the puff of white smoke came from that we saw a few moments ago.
Up front, and there is Carilli in the number 6. Lap down, 13th spot as Mike Bliss storms past him.
Well, he said he didn't want to finish 6th this week, and I guess Carilli won't.
You know, Kim, we talked about how the tires back up and the race pace backs up. Here's a truck leading the race, and I've been clocking him for the last few laps. He's running around 25 seconds flat. What's that compared to? Toby Butler sat on the pole at 23.5. So it's almost slowed down a second and a half from qualifying. You know, we talked about a lot of trucks making changes this morning. One change that I understood this truck to make was it had an oil pan leak yesterday. They actually pulled the oil pan off this motor, sealed it back up and put it back together, and obviously they got a lot of things going for them, plus the oil pan is not leaking.
Lead truck picked up the crew chief Barry Dotson for the very first time, North Wilkesboro last year. And what a story that was. First time Barry Dotson's with this truck, they won. And one of the other teams came to him and said, well, that just upped the ante in this whole series. If you go through the garage area here, they will all tell you, anyone who has seen North Wilkesboro, that this place is very much like it. Barry Dotson put that North Wilkesboro setup into this truck for this event.
And it is the same tire, and it does have the same feel, and the asphalt seems to have aged a bit. Listening to Barry Dotson, and he's giving to his driver, Mike Bliss, the times as he comes around. 30 laps to go this time by.
And you know, with the lead that Mike Bliss has here, that's something good for Barry to do for him, because it keeps him in a rhythm. It lets him know if he's moving his groove around a little bit, if he's better or worse. Even though he may not feel it, Barry can tell it on the stopwatch.
Bliss just 31 years old, nearby Milwaukee, Oregon. One of the young Chargers that NASCAR has in the stable. A guy worth watching. He's going to win a lot of races before he's done with NASCAR.
Take a look here at number 30, Jimmy Hensley, putting the pressure on Toby Butler in the 52. This battle has been dandy for so long out here today. You're watching it for 6th spot. Butler is there in the 52. Hensley's trying to grab that spot. Oh, we saw that smoke, and apparently it's terminal on Butch Miller, great champion out of the Midwest. So many great champions in this series. Again, in 2 weeks, Tucson, Arizona is where you're going to see this series come alive. There's Carilli going another lap. This time to Bickle. Just in front of him. Just in front of him, Press. Hornaday up there in second. Reviewing the front of the field. Bliss first, Hornaday second, and Press third. So the Northwest is in first and third at the present time. Looking good.
Local fans have had a lot to cheer about this afternoon at Evergreen Speedway, but especially this guy, Mike Bliss, in the number 2 truck. Won driving midgets here before.
There's that 16 in second spot, just behind the number 2.
He's close enough to catch him, I think. What do you think? You can get him?
Ask your friends.
What do you think?
Well,
Ryan?
you know, Bliss is in this lap truck right now in the lap traffic, but the thing about it, Hornaday is going to have to deal with them as well. It's a matter of who catches them where. If you can catch them on the straightaway, that's a lot better than trying to pass them right in the center of the corner.
Right up the middle comes Bliss. Thank you very much.
That's just what you don't want to do when you're leading the race. Hornaday went way up. It looks like he got into the loose stuff and took that truck almost to the wall.
2 or 3 of those guys had heart flutter last night in qualifying. They took them all the way up to the wall here, Larry, and that's that kind of move, and that tells you one thing, but he's got some tires that aren't what they were a while ago. Sprague second in points. Further back, 11th position. Randy Penberton standing by with Barry Dotson.
Boy, Barry Dotson is like an expected father down here. He's talking Mike Bliss all the way through the traffic, standing down here in 1 and 2. I'll jump in here right quick. Barry's doing a heck of a job. Can he hold them off?
I don't know. You know, nobody wants to get lapped out there. I wish he'd get out of the way. They're waving the flag. He's awful good. You know, he's done it all himself today. He gives us good input. And the guys have done a really good job. Hats off to Wagner Brakes. He's had to really stop the truck in the corner to keep the push out of it, then accelerate off. So far, a good day.
Put a lot of pressure on me. Do you want me to hold on to this thing?
I want you to hold on to that. I had one before and it didn't work.
Okay, Steve Burns.
We're with Doug Richard. Doug, the question is, can you guys catch him?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Can you catch up to the 2 truck?
Well, Mike Bliss is running real good right now. You know, we're very fortunate to be where we're at right now with all the changes we made it halfway. So if I know Ron's going to give it all 110%. So I got faith in Ron. If it's a driver thing, he's going to be able to put it where it's got to go.
All right, Doug, back upstairs.
Doug Richard, who was crew chief for Dale Earnhardt in 1980 when Earnhardt won his first Winston Cup championship. Looking good out here today. Truck's running in second place.
On the net.
We're back, and there you see the standings after 183 laps with Larry McReynolds on the Robert Yates team, Ernie Irvin, Dale Jarrett, winner at Daytona, getting ready for the 600 at Charlotte on Memorial Day. Really thrilled to have him with you to talk about this race and this racetrack. Of course, he grew up over around Nashville, Tennessee, and he can tell you all about this stuff. VIR down there in Birmingham, knows them. Loves this racing like we do. This short track stuff is the best. And look at your leader, Mike Bliss. And over in the garage area, you'll hear his voice now and then, working like a handler in the corner, like Angelo Dundee handling Sugar Ray Leonard, is Barry Dotson, a master, one of the really great guys at this game. He's had his ups and downs. And look at this. Here's Hornaday out of nowhere, finding something, and he is on his way.
The lap trucks really played a part in it. You know, I've been watching Ron Hornaday's truck. It's still not turning exactly like it should, but right now he's using the inside of the racetrack, the brake pedal, anything he can to make that truck turn.
Just 10 laps ago, Bliss had him covered. Now Hornaday is there, and it looks like Bliss may have worn those tires right down to the cords. Here comes Hornaday on the charge.
You were saying a moment ago, Larry, right in here, that number 16 doesn't look like it works as well as it might want to.
It may be not as good as it was in the first part of this segment, but again, he's up there. I'm sure he's doing everything he can, like Doug Richards said, to make that truck turn. Looks like they still, with about 10 to go, they might catch some more lap trucks. So this thing ain't over with yet, guys.
Now, this is definitely a case of driver performance in the 16. You can see that truck is not handling as well as it might, but he is hanging right in there. And look at this battle going on. This is for third spot with pressing the 53. Bickle on the bottom. Yahoo! Here we go.
10 to go.
Is Bickle going to be able to make it on fuel? That's an issue in his part.
Like what you said, they stay green, he can throw it up on the right side. He'll find it. If it goes to caution, he may have a problem. Third place struggle in Dan Press. They had a flag for the Northwest region of NASCAR. These two guys would have the crowd standing and waving.
Bliss that time got his truck right out sideways coming off turn 4, hit the bump and just took the back end of that truck right out there. Hung on to it. Look at this in traffic.
This can make the difference. Hornaday, one of 3 drivers who's completed all 553 laps. And then here he comes.
Have a lap back.
Lap traffic up the outside. Hornaday trying to fight his way in, and again, Bliss is able to close the gate. Can he hold on? Hornaday is back. Ron Hornaday, number 1 in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck points. Winner last week in Portland, Oregon, trying to win here in Washington. Slams that truck to the inside. They battle down the main straightaway. Hornaday trying to inch in front. And the favorite of the Northwest, Bliss, coming right back as the struggle continues.
Did Dale Earnhardt pick a guy to drive his truck who drives just like he does? Look at that.
There's one thing you'll never be able to accuse Ron Hornaday of, and that's not driving it deep in the corner.
Not being on the gas, too. He is always on the gas.
And never, ever give up.
Yeah.
Halftime, he was back.
Well, I'm going to bet you that Bliss is going to make a charge on Hornaday. This isn't over yet.
Around Walker Evans.
Get it now. Come on, get it, get it, get it.
Here, Barry Dodson, get in there, get him, and he did.
And exactly like an Angelo Dundee. And now back comes Hornaday on the inside. Mike Bliss and Hornaday.
Crowd on his feet.
Guys, they're doing this on 100-lap tires. That's the thing. It makes you wonder how long they can keep this
5 to go. Oh. Mike Bliss driving his heart out. This is his part of the country. Hornaday coming right after him.
As close as this battle for the lead is going on, it is not far back before you get to 3rd and 4th. Right now, Press is 3rd. 4th is Bickle. But if anything happens to this lead, they're right there.
You got it. Skinner in 5th. Butler in 6th. Hensley in 7th. Ruttman 8th. 9th, Barfield. But here's where you want to stay. Here's what you want to watch. Look at Hornaday. Gets it right down. There's no more racetrack. Over the curb. Bouncing up to the outside. Over that big bump as you come out of turn 4. Gets the whole thing loose. Then settles it right down to the main chute and comes back fighting.
Remember Hornaday at Miami, first race of the year, a bonsai move. He almost made it. It will perhaps take a bonsai move now. He has lost some ground on Mike Bliss. Are the tires done?
Bliss bombarding, barreling around this 6/10 of a mile track, looking just fantastic at the moment. Hornaday, the point leader, the winner a week ago, just south of here in Portland, Oregon. Now we're in the great Seattle region, and what a show they're putting on for these folks.
You know what Hornaday might be doing? He might back off just a little bit, let them tires cool, and wait till he sees that white flag wave. Try it one more time.
Getting ready for the white flag. It's down. This is it. Showtime. Who's got the most now? Hornaday goes into 2. Fights it to the bottom. Back straightaway. Final time. Turn 3. Mike Bliss in front. Hornaday trying to mount one more charge. Bliss pulling away. Nothing left in those tires. The air is showing through, but coming through. Great ride on those good years. Dodson's guy has pulled it off.
That's it. Congratulations. You drove a great race from in here.
I feel like a head coachman down here in the corner, and we caught some traffic over here. I don't even remember who it was, and I said, get him, get him, get him, and that was our shot to get him back. Ron raced us clean. He's a heck of a racer, and we appreciate that. Can't say enough about, we were hot the first half. Valvoline kept it good and cool. All you young ASC certified technicians out there, look at where it can get you, you know. And Goodyear tires, excellent. The Cup cars ran them at Wilkesboro. We knew they'd be great. And we turned those snap-on tools for 2 days, and we beat them. We outworked them.
A heck of a run for you, this entire team. Go celebrate with your driver.
Thanks a lot.
I want to know where he found that four-leaf clover. Mike Bliss has done it. And this crowd, are they going to respond? This is one of theirs. And he really gave him a show. They've seen him here in sprints. They've seen him in midgets. They've seen him in stock cars. And you're about to see him clamber out of a Nascar Craftsman Truck, victorious here in the great Northwest. They love their racing here. And this has got to be a very prideful moment for all these fans. Hornaday now leads the points by 51 over Sprague. And there's Bliss coming out. Yes, indeed. What a moment. And to Steve Burns.
Well, Mike Bliss celebrating with some Gatorade and ice. Mike, you won a great race and a great dogfight. Congratulations.
Thanks. It was. Those lap cars at the end worried me, and I saw Hornaday there, and I didn't care at the end. We had to win the race. We let it too much today.
But we just heard Barry say, get him, get him, get him, going down the backstretch, and you sure did.
Well, I can't say enough for the Ford and ASE and Wagner Brakes, Ultra Wheels, Snap-on, and Barry Dobson and the crew. They did a great job today. Without them, I wouldn't be here.
Mike, everybody was concerned about tires. You were able to keep just enough. Were you concerned about the tires?
In a way, we were tight in the center of the corner, but we were good off, so I just kind of braked a little harder and slowed it down in the center of the corner.
All right, well, congratulations. A hard-fought victory.
Thanks a lot.
And you saw right behind him the president of Ultra Wheels, Jimmy Smith, who's a great off-road racer himself. And they have got to be so thrilled for good reason. What a grand race we've had here today. And we'll tell you more about it in just a moment. Evergreen. Randy?
Ron Hornaday finishes second. Ron, one of the most exciting races of any kind that I've ever seen. Talk a little bit about the closing laps of this race.
Well, every time you see a truck race, it's exciting, but I'm just glad I was part of it. Hats off to Mike Bliss, a heck of a race. But just got to thank Napa Brakes and everybody, Action, you know, Dale, Teresa, everybody. But the whole deal was just lap traffic again. We had a truck that pushed the first half, and Doug Richards and the whole crew just really worked hard on it, calmed me down, and kept them tires underneath the truck the second half. And I got him with lap traffic, and he got me back. But that's part of racing, so.
Congratulations on another great run for you guys. Second's not so bad.
Not at all. We came here for a top 5, and we did a lot better than we thought we were going to. But thanks, everybody, and see you again.
Ken Squire.
A lot of class. Dan Press being interviewed to try to get a word. There are the points. 51 points make the difference between Hornaday now and Jack Sprague in second, with Mike Skinner in third as they get ready for Tucson, Arizona in 2 weeks. If you haven't got your tickets, hey, you better get started right now. Then it's on to Denver, Colorado. We'll be there, what's that, coming up first. And from there, let's see, we go to Topeka. June the 1st, we're going to be up there in Denver. Let's get down to Randy. I think he has Dan Presser. We can talk to him.
I sure do. Dan, man, what a run. You had us on the edge of our seats. Congratulations to you on a great effort.
Well, thanks. I really appreciate that. This is a brand new truck, brand new team. You know, I worked a little bit on the Spears truck last year. But other than that, I haven't drove for over a year. We've never been on radials before. Brand new crew, they don't know nothing about this. My hat's off to those guys. You know, we build, racing products. We got some new Sierra billet brakes on here that we're trying out. We want to try and get them into the Winston Cup. That's a good proving ground. We're looking for sponsors. We got Advantage Memories helping us on this thing, but well, I tell you, I think this might have gave us a little boost here. You know, maybe some people noticing. We just need a little help.
Real quickly, how many more shows might we see you in?
Well, right now we're planning on running the next 2, but after that, it's going to be tough to go any further. You know, we got one truck and a little low on funds, so.
Well, if you want to get your sponsor on a good-looking truck, this would be the one. Dan Press finishes 3rd today. at Monroe. Ken Squire.
Veteran looked good today. Mike Bliss, top of the podium here at the Evergreen Fairgrounds in Monroe, Washington. And the hometown folks are happy. Final look at the summary today. 5 lead changes among 4 drivers, 5 cautions for 18 laps before Mike Bliss was finally the man to record the win and take the checkers.
Well, the announcer just asked the crowd here how much they like the trucks, and that was a huge roar of approval. And I hope you had as much fun sitting at home watching this as we did here in the booth. This truck series is really something.
Yeah, and Rick Bickle didn't run out of gas in that last segment.
No.
Hey, coming up, Memorial Day, the 600, Larry McReynolds will be wearing the headset. He'll be down there trying to bring Ernie Irvin and Dale Jarrett home in one of the great American classics. Good luck to you, Larry, and thanks so much for joining us today.
Oh, I appreciate it. It's hard to believe it was raining here 5 hours ago, and then look at the race that we saw. But the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series just showed what it is again, and I'm just delighted the people at World Sports and Turner Broadcasting asked me to come out and talk about it, but most importantly, watch it.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. Hey, again, the Grand National Race, Loudon, New Hampshire. Rained out today, Dick, so they're going to run it tomorrow. Hey, forget the flowers from them. Do something special. Take Mother to the races tomorrow over there in New England and enjoy the NASCAR Grand National. They'll be at their best on that 1-mile track. Thanks again, everybody, for being with us today. Hope you enjoyed this truck series, I want to say super trucks because they are so super. Of course, that was their name last year. But what a super show we really had here today.
NASCAR truck racing is really special. It's only 1 year old, but there's a lot more of it coming, and it just seems to be getting better and more competitive as the series develops.
And now it's 17 out of 24, less than a second between first and second. You don't see it better. Better get to Tucson, Arizona. Catch up with them June 1st out there in Denver, Colorado, up in New England later this year. And, of course, they'll open that Vegas track at the end of the season. Hey, for Larry McReynolds and Dr. Dick Berggren, Randy Pemberton and Steve Burns, I'm Ken Squire. Hope you've enjoyed the Craftsman NASCAR trucks as they performed in the Great Northwest today. And congratulations, particularly to Mike Bliss.